All right. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thumb to the brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shemal Thumb Bashim Yahweh to the sisters. It's the Isupk Lashawan Qadash class. Today we're going to do something that's going to be long-winded. At the same time, it'll be helpful if you're trying to read and understand the Bible. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, all social media. You understand? If it's Isupk, and if it's only the Isupk, man, share it all over the world. Make sure you go to isupk.com. Pay your tithes, man. Check out the website if you haven't recently, man. We done updated that thing. So it's looking real superior right now. So do yourself a favor. So today, once again, we're going to go over parts of speech. When you read in the Bible, you cannot read the Bible like a Stephen King novel. You have to understand that it's deeper than what you were raised to believe in Christianity. Okay. So once again, it's gonna be long. All right. But if you pay attention, if you write things down, I'll try to be fast, but I'll try not to take too long. All right. So this is a mirror to 6-year General Kabbalah Mouse class that he taught 6 years ago. This is a mirror class. So what you're seeing, you can just go to Isupk Lashawan page and you'll see it if this ain't your pace. All right. All right. So the first thing we're going to speak on is linguistic prescription or prescriptive grammar. I'll just make it short. Nope, can't even make it short. Sorry. All right. Linguistic or prescriptive grammar is, I'll read the long definition and I'll write a shorter one. All right. So it's the attempt to lay down rules defining preferred or correct use of language. These rules may address such linguistic aspects as spelling, pronunciation, vocabulary, syntax, and semantics. Sometimes informed, but linguistic purism, such narrative practices may suggest that some usages are incorrect, illogical, lack communicative effects, or are of low aesthetic value. They may also include judgments on socially proper and politically correct language use. So, in short, this is the way you are supposed to write and speak. All right. Linguistic or prescriptive grammar is the proper, for lack of a better word, it's proper English. All right. It's just proper English. So the way that you were taught in school is linguistic prescription or prescriptive grammar. It's the way you're supposed to speak according to the times. So we don't say hither and thou anymore because it's not a part of the times anymore. You understand? But if it was, then you would speak like that. Now, if you speak like that, you're not speaking in the prescriptive grammar because it's not the lingo of the time. You understand? So I'm going to the store to get milk is prescriptive grammar. All right. It's the way what is it? It's you and I, not you and me. You understand? It's the way you're supposed to speak, not the way that we speak in real life. It's the way you're supposed to be proper. You know, so it's that proper English or whatever language, the proper way of speaking the language. All right. Once again, it goes all into semantics, what's logical, what's incorrect, what doesn't have the proper effect to communicate with, as well as semantics and syntax. All right. All right. So that's linguistics. It's the way you're supposed to write and speak. All right. It's proper English. All right. So then you got blah, blah, blah. Where's my other one? Snap. So like it. You have linguist. You got prescriptive grammar. Good night. And then you have Salakia. Then you have the way people actually speak. Let me get that. My fault. I thought I didn't have it on. 1 second. Linguistics. If I'll take too long, I'll just get the other things that we're going to talk about. Prescriptive grammar. And let's see. Stop. So I'll give 1 moment. I believe it's called perceptive. 1 second. Never mind. I'll get it for you. But nonetheless, when you're dealing with grammar, there's the way that you speak that's proper, and then there's the other way, which is it's not proper grammar. It's actually the way you speak based on your culture and the times you live in. I had a name. For some reason I don't have it on me right now. But it's the way that people speak. It's not prescriptive. It's more or less. It's just like just the common way of speaking. All right. It's not politically correct. It's how you actually say things. So instead of saying I'm going to the store to get milk, you'll be like I'm going to the store. You know what I'm saying? Or a better way to put it is like me and my partner heading to the store. You know what I'm saying? It's how people talk rather than saying me and my friend are going to the store. You speak it the way it's said in your culture. I had the thing, man. So like it. I don't want to teach you something I ain't got on me right now though. So we'll move forward from there. Trust me, I'll run into it. All right. So outside of that, let's get the figures of speech, or what a figure of speech is. Like, come right up to my head, right when I least expect it or when I need it. All right. So, a figure of speech. Matter of fact, give me 2 seconds. 1 second. See if I can grab it for you before we go on. I guess so. Okay. 1 second, 1 second. Just don't want to leave y'all like that. No. Nope. No. Never mind. All right, so a figure of speech is a word or phrase used in a non-literal sense for rhetorical or vivid effect. All right, so all of this is what you're gonna find in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Whether you know it or not, the Bible is not just a book you just read in your kind of way. It's poetic. You know what I'm saying? It's written by brothers. You understand? That were smart brothers. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't just write things plainly. They wrote things for people that understand slang. You understand? So a figure of speech is a word or phrase used in a non-literal sense. For vivid effect. You know what I'm saying? Get a good example of it. So an example of a figure of speech, use them all the damn time, you understand? Even to say a figure, to say it's just a figure of speech. I came, I saw, I conquered. It's just a figure of speech, you know what I'm saying? It's like been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Example would be like, all right, it's just to be dramatic, you know what I'm saying, or make something vivid. You know, it ain't special to me because I done already did it before. Something short instead of saying a whole lot, you just keeping it real short and sweet. All right. So all the Bible is full of figures of speech. You understand? Even when the Lord said Israel's my firstborn, you know, is my son, even my firstborn. It's not literal. It's just the Lord is being vivid, you know what I'm saying, more expressive rather than just being boring and just saying Israel is the people that I told would be my people according to their forefathers. You know what I'm saying? They the only one I chose. They number one, so they my firstborn. You understand? It's just a figure of speech. It's a lot. That's the only reason why I'm trying to keep it moving. So it's a lot here. All right. Semantics, as was spoken of when you're dealing with the prescriptive. All right. Semantics. All right. Is the branch of linguistic and logic concerning the meaning. There are a number of branches and sub-branches of semantics, including formal semantics, which studies the logical aspects of meaning, such as sense, reference, implication, and logical form. Lexical semantics, which studies words' meaning and word relations, and conceptual semantics, which studies the cognitive structure of meaning, the meaning of a word, phrase, or sentence, or text. All right. So there's a lot of areas in which semantics goes, but it basically goes into meaning of a word, phrase, sentence or text. All right. So you got logical semantics, you got lexical semantics. It's just branches on which you go into finding out what the meaning of a word is, which is how you want to read the Bible. You don't want to read the Bible like a storybook, and there's in the beginning and at the end it's the end. It's not like that. Some words, specifically words, we'll get onto that when we get to etymology, but there are some words where you have to know exactly what it means. You know what I'm saying? You can't just take it for face value. You take it for face value, you know, everything in English is not going to be the same thing in another language. Just like hole free holes, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean the same thing in English. So you have to know the meaning of something. You can't just walk around and assume that when you see the word world, for God so loved the world, you can't just assume that that world is the same thing as world without end in the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? You got to know you have to know the semantics of what's being stated or being spoken of, right? So with semantics, you also have etymology. Etymology is the study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. Study of words and the way in which their meanings changed throughout history. So semantics is what lawyers use. It's specifically lawyers or even the president. The president, like Bill Clinton, when he was like trying to say he didn't smoke weed, he just said, you know, I didn't smoke it. I may have inhaled it. You know what I'm saying? Or I think he said he puffed it, but he didn't inhale it. I don't know how you do that. But he was playing semantics. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to use the meaning of a word to get out of a scenario. Or even when it comes to the lawyer, they either trying to get you out of something or put you in something using semantics. Now, etymology is the study of words and the way in which their meanings change throughout history. So that goes into the depth of when did this word stop being like queen? When did queen stop meaning whore? You know what I'm saying? When did queen only mean like you're sitting on a throne? You know what I'm saying? You'd have to go into the etymology of the word queen, and you'll find that there was a time when queen just meant whore. There was no two ways about it. It wasn't a positive thing. So even when you read in the scriptures and you see queen of heaven or this queen was here, you got to know where does it come from, because you're reading the word queen in English. But where does it go in history? All right. What else? The origin of a word and the historical development of its meaning, or etymologies. So the etymology of the word devil. Devil today, you would think you would only say red with a pitchfork, a tail, you know, you would say that Satan is the devil. But you don't know that the etymology of the word devil is liar and deceiver. So when we say a white man is the devil the Bible speaks of, we're not saying he's the red guy. He is red. We're not saying he's the red guy with the pitchfork sitting on a throne in the ground and it's fire underneath us. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that the white man is the liar and the deceiver that the Bible speaks of. You understand? But you just have to go deeper than just what you can read. You understand? You just like church. If you're a Christian, Lord willing, you're not. Just because you go to church on Sunday and Wednesday don't mean you learn a damn thing. You understand? You gotta dive into the book. You understand? But really, you gotta be taught. That's the only way to learn the Bible. You have to be taught. You'll never learn the Bible on your own. Someone has to teach you. All right. So another thing you want to look into. Is allegory. Allegory. All right. An allegory is a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. All right. Allegory is a story, poem, or picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, usually moral or political. All right. The best example I can think of would be like that movie Terminator 2. So when you watch, you got Sarah Connor, right? Sarah Connor, according to the movie, she would be Mary Magdalene or Mary, the mother of Jesus. John Connor would be Christ, the little baby being born. Got to save him. Then you got your Terminators. That's the white man. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the one that gets sent from the future. That'd be like the armies of God fighting to make sure that Christ live and get delivered. You know what I'm saying? All that. You understand? It's deeper than what you're seeing. What you're seeing is kablow. But behind it, there's a meaning. All right. They got some story called Pilgrim's Progress, and you got a witch representing the devil, evil. You got a lion representing Christ. It's just representative, something representing something else, but it's more of a deeper moral or political agenda. You know what I'm saying? And when you read like Revelation, a good example would be Revelation 12, 1 through 8. When it's talking about the woman having child and a dragon waiting to pluck it up, you know, before it gets to grow and stuff like that. It's about the 12 tribes of Israel. It's about Christ being born. It's about Herod trying to kill him, you know what I'm saying? But it's deeper than the picture that's being painted. You know what I'm saying? It's an allegory that's telling you a story, but it's something underneath the surface of what you're seeing. All right. Suggestive grammar. That's what it was. I knew it was going to come back to me. So you have prescriptive grammar, and then you have suggestive grammar, which is the way in which people actually speak. All right. So prescriptive is what you get taught in school. Suggestive is what is it's the lingo or the colloquialisms of the society you live in. You know what I'm saying? School teaches you how to be politically correct. Life teaches you how to get by in your society. You understand? All right. So from there, let's get the metaphor. This goes quicker than I expected. That'd be great, because if I just wrote it all down, it'd be a whole bunch. All right. So metaphor is figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action which Salakia, to which it is not literally applicable. All right. Let me see. Let me give you a good example. Raining cats and dogs would be an example of a metaphor. All right. It's not possible, but you get the picture. Somebody tell you it's raining cats and dogs outside. It's old. You know what I'm saying? It's an old expression for it's heavy outside. This ain't no regular rain, man. It's crazy outside. All right. Another one would be, to have a heart of gold. You know what I'm saying? That's not possible, but it's a measure to tell you, right? Like, it's a good person right here. You know what I'm saying? Another example would be Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. All right. Matthew chapter 7, verse 6 says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend thee." So don't give what's holy, what's separate, what's of the Lord to anybody that's not of the Lord. So you don't want to give it to some heathen, you know what I'm saying, some swine that's a heathen, because we don't eat pig. You damn sure ain't gonna give a pig any knowledge, you know what I'm saying, who the pigs of the day, you know, the white man for damn sure. You know what I'm saying? Or any dog, same thing. Another nation. Don't give them what's for you, or they gonna just step all over it, and then rend you. You understand? Come back and scold you, and treat you like you didn't give them anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's an example of a metaphor, because the dogs give us something holy to swine, and that which is like it. Casting your pearls of swine and giving that which is holy to dogs. It's calling people animals. You know what I'm saying? It's saying that what you got is something you shouldn't give to something that's beneath you. You know what I'm saying? A pig and a dog. You know what I'm saying? You got something rich. Don't give it to somebody that ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's a figure of speech. The figure of speech is to call. The metaphor is calling them swine and dogs, because they're not really swines and dogs. They're people. Don't give something that's made for a holy people to another people that are not holy. All right. Another example they give for a type of metaphor is, I would say, the song 21 Questions by 50 Cent, you know, and Nate Dogg. You gotta go to your mama, boy. They was like, you know what I'm saying, girl, would you let me? And he gave all these different predicaments. If I, you know, would you let me if I was on a bus? All these different things. It's a scenario that ain't never gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen unless, you know what I'm saying, they condition change. Which is what he's trying to say, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing good now. All right. Go to your mama, boy. You're saying they're talking about, if my condition changed, would you still be here for me? But they give a whole bunch of examples, you know what I'm saying, so that you can get the point, like, you know, what's it gonna be? This ain't happening. This probably can't happen, but would you change if this happens? All right. All right. All right. So, like I said, if you want to see a simile, it's all over the Bible, but specifically, if you want a direct source of one, it would be Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. All right. So next, a simile. Similes and metaphors, they damn near the same thing. You understand? A simile is a figure of speech that involves the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. All right. All right. Let's get some more on it. It's used to make a description more emphatic or vivid. It's used to make a description more emphatic or vivid. It's like that. Used to make a description more, it's a good word to have in your vocabulary, emphatic, or vivid. All right. So it's like if you were to say, man, you moving like a snail. You know what I'm saying? It's to be like a snail is slow as hell, man. That's how slow you moving. you moving as slow as something that I don't even know how the thing got here. I know how this thing gets where it's going, but you slow as a goddamn snail, man. It's trying to tell somebody, man, you slow, man. I'm trying to let you know, like, you ain't just like regular slow, you like super slow. You know what I'm saying? So it's just comparing one thing to another thing of a different kind. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say you slow as Steve because you and Steve are both humans. You got to compare. Or like if you say somebody strong as a bull, that's a simile. All right? Let me see. A good example of a simile would be Micah. Micah chapter 5, verse 8. Do it again. Example of a simile is when the Lord said, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people as a lion." That's the simile. He's saying that Israel, which is another thing we're going to talk about, to say Jacob, it's another form of a figure of speech. All right. Shall be among the Gentiles, which is a word that you need the semantics as well as the etymology to know what the meaning of it is. In the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. So the simile is saying that we're like a lion in the forest, you know what I'm saying, among these other beasts. So everybody's an animal in this simile or in this metaphor, but we're specifically like a lion that just tears up and nobody can come against us. You know what I'm saying? If you look at all the protesting, like, I don't know, the protests kind of died down. You know, they lost their effect now. But if you look at how it was like if black people were the ones doing the looting, and I mean if we were the ones doing it, nobody could stop us. You know what I'm saying? White people was doing all that looting. White people was throwing their bricks, breaking the windows. You know what I'm saying? But had that been black people, it wouldn't be no way to stop us. You know what I'm saying? And we even stronger in righteousness. When our strength doesn't come in us being wicked. Our strength comes in us serving the Lord, you know what I'm saying, doing things correctly. All right. The simile in this verse is comparing us to a lion that tears people up and no one can deliver. All right. Oh, here we go. We got make a good time. We got a lot. We're making good time. All right. Another thing you want to know is an idiom. So before I go any further, today is not about this being something you could have found out on your own. It's not about that. Knowledge is knowledge. You can find out what you need to know about any type of reading, any type of grammar, all these things. What is important is that when you're dealing with the Bible, if somebody is debating you about the scriptures and they're debating you on something like God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, you're supposed to know that they don't know what the Bible is about. The Bible is not something where you could just read a word and that's what it is. You got to know everything there is to know about a word to win a battle. Not only do you have to stick to your foundation, but you got to know that that word world does not mean the same thing it means in Psalms chapter 90, verse 2. You're supposed to know that a one word can have a whole bunch of different meanings when you're dealing with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with semantics and etymology of words and the linguistic, the suggestive, and the prescriptive use of a language. If you know these things, then you can't lose over John 3:16, man. And definitely don't get confounded. Like Isaiah 45:17 says, man. You're not going to get confounded if you understand grammar. All right, so an idiom is a group of words established by usage as having a meaning not deducible from those of the individual words. All right. Idiom is a group of words established by usage. Like if you say he got game, you establish what game means by what it means in your culture. All right. As having a meaning not deducible deducible is like deductive. If something is deductive, it's deducible, meaning you can figure it out based on everything else. So deductive reasoning is a scientific statement that you use with your hypothesis, all of all of the things that come up with you getting an answer to your what do they call it, to your experiment. Some of your rationale comes through deductive reason. All right, so if something's not deducible, I mean, you can't deductively reason, or you can't assume that that's what it means. All right. From those of the individual words. They gave some horribly old examples. I don't even want to do it. But one is a good example is see the light. That's a very old school thing. See the light. You can't deduce what it means. See the light it sounds like you're talking to somebody blind and you're trying to disrespect them. You know what I'm saying? See the light is like you figure it out. Oh, I get it. See the light. Oh, now I understand. It represents understanding. All right. Just like he got game. You know what I'm saying? You can't understand what's being said when you write this unless you know what game is. You know what I'm saying? But you can't just figure that out. He got game. What game? What kind of game is it? Is it sorry? Is it Uno? You'll think, what is a game? You know what I'm saying? No, he got skills. You know what I'm saying? He got swag. You know what I'm saying? He got flavors. That type of thing. He know how to finesse a situation. It's deeper than just what you see. All right. Even, and this is really way out there. If you were to say, can a nigga borrow a French fry? It's crazy talk because it don't make any sense. Can a nigga borrow a French fry? No, you can't borrow a French fry because if you consume the French fry, you can't give it back to me. You know what I'm saying? It's based on you're not gonna understand it based on the words that surrounded it. But if you know what it means, but if you know what borrow mean in this specific phrase, you know it's just saying, let me get a fry, man. I didn't ask you nicely, may I have a fry? You said no. Well, can I borrow a French fry? You know, it's just wordplay, or figure of speech. Idioms. My bad is an idiom. All right. Euphemism. Actually, I give you a real good one. Nah, it's not a good one. My fault. Euphemism is a mild or indirect word or expression substituted for one considered to be too harsh or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. All right. A mild or indirect word or expression substituted for one considered to be too harsh or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. So today's example of euphemism is brought to you by Jada Pinkett Smith. All right. So she said, I was in an, how do you spell it, with an I or E? Entanglement. All right. The euphemism is, or should I say, it's all this. I was in an entanglement. An entanglement is her trying to downsize something that's embarrassing or unpleasant for her to say, which further lets you know that what she did was wrong. Because if it was not extramarital, she would have just said, I was in a relationship with August Alsina, whatever the hell his name is. Kablau. But since she know that she got with this dude while she was still with Will, she wanted to call it an entanglement. And Will was like, you was in a relationship, which is yet another word for that's being used instead of what it was. You know, it was a form of, it was adultery. You know what I'm saying? He really wanted to say you was effing his brother while we were separated. What the hell is your problem? I could kill you. But instead, because she wanted to save face, she didn't say she was in a relationship. She used a euphemism in saying she was in an entanglement. It's just her trying to use something indirectly, you know what I'm saying, another expression, instead of saying what she feels is too harsh. She feels it's too harsh to say, man, I was in a relationship with this whole other dude, this whole other young cat, while I was with you, husband. You know. So that's what a euphemism is. Let me see if I can find something biblical that I had written. John 11 and 4. This is actually a good one. John 11 and 11. Another example would be John 11 and 11 and comma verse 14. All right. When you read that, John 11:11, it says, "These things said he," talking about Christ, "and after that he saith unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep." We drop down to verse 14. Christ said, "Then said Yahushua or Jesus unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead." So sleep didn't mean that Lazarus was taking a nap, because if you read it, they was like, well, if he sleep, let him sleep. It's good for him. Then Christ was like, man, he dead. Oh, he not asleep. He's dead. Yeah, man. I just didn't want to. Damn, you want this? That's our friend. You want me to say he dead? So euphemism is something you use to lessen the blow. You know what I'm saying? You make a good time. Probably gonna be done sooner than I expected. All right. Metonymy, another figure of speech. Metonymy is a substitution of the name of an attribute or adjacent for that of the thing meant. The substitute of the name of an attribute or adjacent adjunct for that of the thing meant. For example, for that of the thing meant. Hey, for that of the thing meant. So a good example of this is saying soup for like executives. All right. People say they call them suits. For a business executive, it's just a suit. A good biblical example. Matter of fact, another one is if you say you're going to the word track. That's another word that has changed, and it also changes based on where you live. Because in the Bay Area, if you say you know what I'm saying, you're going to the track, you're not talking about the horse track, the horse races. You know what I'm saying? You're going to the horse races, but you're not going to the horse races. All right. Try to get one. I had it. When you read Acts chapter 15, 21, it says, for Moses of old time hath in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath. All right. So the metonymy would be Moses. Moses is not what is being spoken of. What are the first 5 books of the Bible called? They're called the 5 books of Moses, which mean they contain the law. So even for those Christians that think that the law is done away with, Acts chapter 15, Moses is being spoken of. What is Moses? Moses is equal to the law. All right. You know what I'm saying? Let me put the for those that need it. So Moses represents the law. So for the law of old time have in every city them that preach him, being read in the synagogues every Sabbath. So we try to tell you that they were reading the law in the Sabbath every Saturday. It didn't change. You understand? Because Christ died. Still reading the law. And the him is because Moses is a man. You know what I'm saying? Not it. But it's all connected to, it's just a metonymy. It's a substitution of the name of something that's meant for another thing. All right? So when you think of Moses, you think of the law. You think of Christ, you'll think of the New Testament. Even when you and even if you want to put Christ in the Old Testament, when you read I believe it's 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 1 verse 4, actually verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. Verse 2, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea. 3, and did all eat the same spiritual meat. 4, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. So Christ ain't actually a rock. You know what I'm saying? Christ represents the spirit of the law that they was taking on. You know what I'm saying? That level of brotherhood, that spirit of the Most High, that everything there was Christ, but Christ wasn't actually the rock. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was being taught like everybody want to be Christ-like, but Moses was teaching us everything we needed to be like Christ, because Christ was the law. He taught the law. He lived the law. So to be like Christ, you have to get Moses. You know what I'm saying? Moses is the law. Christ lived a life according to the law. Christ was that rock. It's all the same. The rock was, you know what I'm saying, he was that water that they drunk out of. Life. Okay. All right. Okay. Making good time. Synecdoche. Yeah. Matter of fact, this is a easily messed up word. 1 second.
Synecdoche.
Wow, synecdoche. All right. That's a very big word. All right. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part is made to represent the whole or vice versa. All right. A very simple example is, check out my wheels. All right. The wheels represents the whole car. If I say check out my wheels, black people would say, check out my whip. You know what I'm saying? How they say it in the South, check out my slab, whatever they might say. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you saying is take a look at my car. You know what I'm saying? This part is representing car. You know what I'm saying? Figurative language comes in many shapes and sizes, as well as synecdoche, all that stuff. Synecdoche is just a part of a figure of speech. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a metaphor, simile, all that. It's just another way in which the Bible is poetic and not pasty. Like when Christ said, "Ye are the salt of the earth," he wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? Even that expression of being the salt of the earth, is a figure of speech. All right, we're not really salt, but we give everything flavor. You know what I'm saying? And the Bible it don't stop there. You know what I'm saying? The Bible is written by black men, so of course it's going to be full of flavor. All right, a good example would be Luke chapter 3 verse 6, where it says, "And all flesh shall see the glory." So see the salvation of God's luck. I got glory. All right. So the word, you see the all flesh, and you'll think it's saying all flesh, anything that got blood and, you know what I'm saying, skin on top of it. But like everything, you got to know the foundation. The Bible was never written for everybody on planet Earth. So even when you see all flesh, if you know what's being spoken of, you know it's just saying, when it's saying all flesh, it's saying all people. All the people of God are going to see a salvation. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if you practicing Israelite or you African American, don't want to hear nothing about being an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? All flesh is talking about all Israel, right? All man. All man. Slug it. All man. Take that back. All flesh gonna see the salvation. If you got blood pumping in your body, you gonna see the salvation of the Most High. It don't mean the salvation gonna be for you, but you gonna see what the Lord gonna do to those that's gonna get his salvation. You could be white, you could be yellow, it don't matter. Everybody gonna see what the Lord gonna do for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. All right. Last but not least, anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism is attribute of human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal, or object. God, animal, or object. So you got you have personification, and then there's anthropomorphism. All right. So personification is when you give an animal human-like qualities. All right, but it's not the same as anthropomorphism. Let me get that one for you real quick. Personification specifically is the attribute of a personal nature or human characteristics to something non-human, or the representation of an abstract quality in human form. All right, so a person, animal, or object regarded as representing or embodying a quality, concept, or thing. An example is he was a very personification of British pluck and diplomacy. All right, whatever, you know what I'm saying, but that's whatever, you know. It's not the same as anthropomorphism, which is giving the attributes of a human to a god, an animal, or an object. All right, a real good example of that is Isaiah chapter 46, verse 1. Let me get one more thing. Try to find something. One second. One second. I wanted to get this for you before I ended the class. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Let's see it. One second. Bear with me. Is it? Let me get it from. No, can't be what it's called. One second. It is. Never mind. All right. So, anthropomorphism is the attribute of human characteristics to a god, animal, or object. A good example of that would be Isaiah 46:1, where it says, Baal boweth down. Nebo stoopeth. Their idols were upon the beast and upon the cattle It's got some more, but it'll just take up the space. All right. So Baal is a god, but is bowing down, and Nebo is another god, and is stupid. So it's a form of anthropomorphism when you're given something that is an object, an animal or a god, or a human characteristic, and a carved out god doesn't move. You understand? But in the example or in this verse, it's showing you that even they bow down. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody coming up against the Most High. Even something that's carved is going to bow. You know what I'm saying? But that's a form of anthropomorphism. All right. God, I just wanted to get you that definition. I can't find it. It's going to irk me all week, but it's all great. All right. But with that, those are the types of grammars, you understand, that you want to be on par with, so you can understand that when you're reading the Bible, there's more to it than just what you're reading. What you're reading is English, and through the etymology of words, semantics, and time, things have changed. You know what I'm saying? You're going from Hebrew, you got Greek, you have Latin, and then you have the English language, which is a very bastardized language. So by the time you get to the English language, the meaning of a word cannot just be taken as face value. You're going to have to check it out. You're going to have to look into it and find out the etymology. You're going to have to find out what the figure of speech is being used based on the time period that it was written in. And that's how you can correctly draw any conclusion about what you're reading in the scriptures of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? The foundation being that black men wrote the Bible, Hispanics and Native Indian men wrote the Bible, and the Bible is only about us. So because it's only about us, it's only meant for us to speak it and understand it. All right. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers or sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, can be found in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means tenth in Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory. So whatsoever amount you want. Upcoming upcoming holy convocations would be the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. That's September 11th, if I'm not mistaken. It's coming up. Just check isupk.com, man. Make sure you subscribe to Black Watch, Commander General Yohana's weekly show. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, so when he updates, you know what's going down and you know what's happening in your society to your people. Any brother that wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and war scarves. All right, with that, to the brothers, shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatam. To the sisters, shalom, Yahweh